morning, everybody. How are you?
Oh.
My name is Jacqueline DiSanto. I'm the Chair of Education and co-chair of the Educational Technology Leadership Council at Hostos. It is my pleasure to introduce Ritholz, and I'm going to give you a little background about how this came to be. I am also the Academic Integrity Officer. AI, they call me. Well, now AI, the phenomenon seems to be mine as well. I've only dabbled in it. And I got asked to do a presentation on it, and being a procrastinator, I had nothing to say. I read an email from Eric asking me if I would like to talk to him about a presentation, an initiative he was putting together where AI is not the villain and faculty don't look at it and say, they're gonna cheat, I have to be alert. Something where students own it and they can use it to further their success. They can use it as a teaching and learning assistant. And I said, I've always wanted it. I'm in a community college. I always wanted a TA. Why shouldn't the students have them? Eric, it's all yours.
Thank you. Interestingly enough, while I was preparing for this presentation, I realized that the most important aspect of this, right, wasn't about the tools. Which tool did you use? Which tool are you going to use? Which tool works for this? It went back to tried and true, effective pedagogy. Ineffective pedagogy, right? You can design it so that the students can get the most out of the tools at hand, regardless of what those tools might be, because in 2023, I dabbled with AI a little bit, and I got a handle on it, and I knew its limitations. And then the next day, I saw some changes, and I dabbled in it, and I found its limitation. And eventually, I realized that I wasn't going to figure out its limitations because the limitations kept on changing. Right? And which tool was best for what kept on changing. So I refocused on what is it that AI can do? Not just one AI, but if you look, you can find AI tools that can focus on certain things that students can do that really do not bear on production. It's not writing the essay for them. It's not doing all the research for them. It's not doing all of that. There's things that AI can do to function as a teaching assistant. And I narrowed it to a focus on these particular task areas. Clarification. Sometimes, however well-intentioned and however careful an instructor might be in preparing instructions and directions, the student might have some questions. In my experience in the classroom, students always have questions about the directions. And AI is very good at clarifying and clarifying it towards specific nuance as well. You can ask it, right, how does this, how would this apply to, to that particular exercise or assignment? And give them insight that they can use. So instead of the instructor being asked, they have 25 students in class, and 20 of them are asking different questions about the directions, maybe they have some more time to focus on some more substantive material that the students need. PD qualification. Now, PD qualification goes beyond summary, right? If you ask, and again, I can give you examples of specific tools, but again, that list is going to change every week. But there are tools that are specific to research and specific to PDFs and to reading PDFs quickly. When you give it the criteria for what you're working on, perhaps criteria that was discussed in class and clarified and worked on between the instructor and the students, right? Then they can go through a all of the research, all of the PDF articles that they intend to work with and narrow the field. And narrowing the field is very important because it's not about them having the AI. Here's the 3 resources I'm going to use. Narrow it down like that. It's like narrow the field, and then the student's discretion and judgment is still an essential part. Writing analysis, right? That is not writing it for them. It's showing them their mistakes, their style, their redundancies of phrasing, so that they can learn how to write it better. And test preparation, that one is tricky. I'll get into it in a little more detail. But if you have good, strong prompting, then a student or an instructor giving examples to the students can create practice tests that are specific to their needs, even focus on their weaknesses that they know of before an upcoming test. And time management. Time management, I have a biology test on this particular area in 3 weeks. I have no more than 3 hours a week to spend on it, right? Give me a schedule. Give me a study schedule. Right? That's a very basic example, but you'd be surprised with the results. Now, I did talk about this last year, but the difference is that we've been scaffolding this and planning it so that it can be designed in a pilot for instructors to use to teach their students what they can and cannot do, include it in their syllabi, and stick to those rules so that the students, it's not an all or nothing thing, because all doesn't the students don't get to learn. And nothing, the students are left behind, right? There are some things that they should be doing right now. What do I need the slides for? I already went through it. But
Give me more detail, right?
okay, well, in order to delve into this in a much more refined way, right? Well, with the help of Jackie, we put together a discussion group, right, and had a workshop series that we've had 5 meetings so far. We have 1 more to complete that series. And that series was recorded so that I could take the transcripts, and the transcripts were used as feedback content by AI for me to learn from what the instructors have to say. What happens if I give 20 instructors a survey? 5 of them do it, 10 of them do it, and they do it fast to get it over with as fast as possible. And that's not really useful feedback for me. So using those transcripts and without names, there's no names there. It's just I need the responses, I need the questions, I need the doubts. So that's something that we can work with. And that's what we did. And with clarification, prompting is very important. Learning how to make the correct prompt is one of the most significant things, the most significant aspects of this current realm of AI, because the little nuances and difference, right, change the output completely. And if the faculty don't know about it, then the students don't know about it. And if the faculty can provide examples of the correct prompts through experimentation, here's a prompt that works, right? They can make a different prompt based on their specific need that works the same way. Here was the first obstacle we encountered. If you give it the directions and instructions, what is AI going to do? It's going to write the essay and it's going to do the assignment. The prompt has to very clearly ask questions about the direction, not just take the direction, because it wants to please. It is going to write the entire essay, and it'll have resources, and it'll have citation, it'll have all of it. Some of it's made up, some of it's true. But where's the student in this? Right? So clarification is it's a very powerful aid that a teaching assistant would provide. And we want it to provide that, but it has to be directed as such. Read the provided assignment instructions for the personal philosophy of education paper. In simple terms, what are the main things I need to write about in this paper? And it can get a lot more complicated than that, but you can see just by that alone, looking at the directions, it's not going to write the paper. It's going to give the student some ideas of where to start. Now, PDF qualification, I talked about that earlier. Metadata extraction, finding out the name, the dates, the information for citation. That's something that the AI can do for the student. But is that citation something they're going to include? Right, that's for the student to decide, and for the teacher to evaluate. Right? And it teaches the student about document analysis by creating the criteria of what they're looking for. And then when they're reading, the way that we have it designed right now, it's scaffolded for a student to enter articles, links, and PDFs, and ask the specific criteria, chosen by between the faculty and the student, and narrow the field down to approximately 15 citations, and then reflect on going through and provide feedback to the instructor with reflection on why they're choosing the 3 or 5 citations they're actually using for their research. That's an important part. They have to be involved in the process. They have to, have reasoning for why they're choosing from that list. Yes, and overuse can impact the student's comparative evaluation, right? So again, that's why it's arbitrary to say 15. It depends on the scope of the research that they're doing. It might be bigger, it might be smaller, but that's just a good number to start with. And as we pilot this, we'll see based on our research how that number should be adjusted. Writing analysis. Currently, and again, this changes every day, but currently there's 2 extremes, right? There's Hemingway editor is a good example of highlighting in different colors and showing the different grammar types and lexical and mechanical mistakes inside of the writing, right? And then we have Pro Writing Aid, which does a lot of heavy lifting. It can develop a style guide, and it can see where a student is not conforming to their own writing style, right, which demonstrates copy and paste. And then they need to step in and revise, right? And so those are 2 extremes. It's, there's something that's very, very analytical of the student's writing. And there's one that's just covering the grammar and the basics of readability. But I've recently been talking with a company called Feedback Foods, and they're an industry leader right now in that regards, because the way that system works is their AI kind of coaches the student through doing the writing. So as we proceed in our findings and our recommendations, there will be more information on whether that's a better choice. Because that would be software that would have to be LTI integrated into Brightspace for the students to use. So that's a completely different thing.
Eric, before you go ahead, if I may, this is one of the areas where it also does act a little bit like a TA for the faculty, because you can ask them to submit the conversations they're having with their online teaching assistant and turn it in with their first draft, so that it's not redundant. You're not looking at their first draft and saying, well, you should have tried this, you should have tried this, because AI may have already done that. So it takes the next conversation, what you're suggesting for improvement, the jumping off point is different. It's a little bit further ahead, so the final draft may be that much more in tune with what you had hoped they'd deliver.
Thank you. Let me point out something as a point of clarification. It's implied right there that the student wrote first draft before something like Hemingway took a look at it. And that's important, right? As it progresses, their writing will improve and they'll get different feedback, some of which they should include, some of which they might choose not to. But they're writing the first draft. Okay, it can become very intensive, right? That's why scaffolding is very important. And that's why we're investigating and piloting how it could be delivered, because we might have to streamline it further. We might need further explanation and further steps. And it's easy to have some conjecture about what that's going to look like. But the truth is that until we develop it and deliver it to the students and see how the students work with it, we do not know how much more detail or how much more streamlined it needs to be. And then lastly, test prep and time management. Test preparation in the workshops, right? We discovered, again, good prompting. It's very important. It's essential at this, right? And I developed 8 prompts to use as examples, and we spent like more than an hour deconstructing those prompts and changing them to meet different faculty needs. And it got to the point where it was good, where it was right. But it doesn't start out that way. You don't say, I have a biology 110 class and we're doing this, and I need practice on mitosis. You know, just some basic example. That's not enough. It has to focus on the exact level of specificity that's required and the exact area of strength and weakness that the student has. So they are also doing a self-evaluation and taking into account feedback provided by their instructor in order to come up with the prompts that they're using to practice for the test. There are a lot of tools out there that do this, and something really interesting happened, right? And I like to claim credit for this, and I don't care what facts come up to the contrary. I will continue to take credit for this. I spent a week working on the prompting for practice quizzes. And what I discovered was it didn't matter which AI I was using, right? It created great questions, sometimes specifically honed and curated exactly to the needs. And then you looked at the answer key and the correct answer was A, because it followed the same format for each question. So on the answer key was A is the right answer, A is the right answer, A is the right answer. I said, I want you to vary the right answer. So all of them were A and one of them was B.
Because it's A, I generated.
Bias.
So then came the next workshop meeting, and the next workshop meeting where I was demonstrating this, I was I was ready for this now because I saw this problem occur and I could show this obstacle. And I brought up one AI and it had it completely varied. And another AI, it had it completely varied. I had taught the AIs to vary it. Do you know what it did the first time? It gave me Python compiling language to take the practice test and put it through a Python compiler, and then it randomized it.
Wow.
And it worked, but no, you can't ask a student to do that. But then by the time I was confidently ready to show this flaw and this limitation, right, it was gone, it disappeared, it saw that I had spent so many hours trying to get it to work right, and somebody, right, said, oh, we should fix this, we can have it compiled.
Which tool were you using that then you say is using the Python thing in the background? Which tool? Like
That one was Gemini.
Gemini?
Comparative analysis, I tried with I tried
Copilot, I tried with ChatGPT, and I have a,
That's crazy.
no, I have like a combined suite that lets me use all of them, and I tried all of them, it still happened. Now, I want to hurry up because I want to show you the effect of good prompting. Good prompting, in this case, I asked an AI to write a song, and not just include the lyrics, but include all the tagging that I needed. I wanted it to tagging to know when, tagging for the start, tagging for pre-chorus, tagging for the chorus, tagging for ad libs. So I'm going to jump ahead. Oh yeah, one more thing. We have a grant this summer. We're going to work on developing it, and then hopefully in the fall we'll have a bigger grant to implement. And I'm sorry for jumping ahead, but I think it's worth it. On the main screen, so I can't find it. This is what happens with good prompting.
Yeah.
It's AITI. AITI.
Staring at the screen, feeling kind of slow. Got these deadlines creeping, knowledge I gotta chase. Feeling that pressure building, picking up the pace. But the concept's getting blurry, the details hard to track. Didn't know where to turn or how to bounce back. Until then a different energy stepped into the frame. Learned your name was Ita, ain't nothing been the same. Oh, Ita, yeah, you came through, helped us break the ceiling, seeing dreams brand new. From the late night grind to the morning light, you were right there with us, making everything right. Guiding every step, yeah, you understood, helped us reach our goals, felt so good. Remember stuck on that paper, felt like a dead-end street. You analyzed the structure, helped me find the beat of my own voice. Word flowing kinda right, pointed out the spots, shining a different light. Test prep anxiety, man, that used to hit hard. Personalized quizzes, shuffled up the deck of cards. Showed us where we weak, where we needed strength. Helped us optimize time, going to any lane. Yeah, you broke it down for us, simple and true. Unlock potential inside like you always do. Oh, Ata, yeah, you came through, helped us break the ceiling, seeing dreams brand new. From the late night grind to the morning light, you were right there with us, making everything right. Guiding every step, yeah, you understood, helped us reach our goals, felt so good. It wasn't about the cheat codes, wasn't the easy way out. It was the tools you gave us, clearing all the doubt. Helped us think it through, empowered every mind, leaving no one struggling, falling behind. From clarification to organization, yeah, you had the plan. Big thanks to the A, lending a helping hand. Yeah, Ita, we appreciate you, seriously. Reach the finish line, 'cause of you, goals achieved, yeah.
It speaks to different learning styles.
Different learning styles.
Multiple formats, UDL. If anybody wants that song, the QR code's right there.
Which one?
On the top.
That's
floor.
one? Yeah.
You got it already.
And lastly. Okay. So here, I also used Notebook LM to produce a podcast of two people having attended this presentation, discussing it afterwards. So if you need a reminder or refresher of the specific details, then This has an audio of two people very realistic sounding, discussing this presentation. And there's the song again. I'll keep you posted as we continue with the research. And I think that this is very exciting because you notice nothing that I discussed, nothing that I suggested, right, is plagiaristic. Nothing the students that we want the students to do, to use these tools for, right, is plagiarized content. It's just helping them understand how to do their work. Helping the instructor convey what they want from them in terms of their goals. So the goals are really the focus. Don't worry about what the AI is called, right? It changes every day. Worry about what are your goals? What are your course objectives? What are the lesson objectives? What are the students' objectives? And then the prompts will lead them there. Thank you. Other questions?
You said that you wrote a grant?
What?
You said that you wrote a grant?
Yes.
Yes.
What was the, what's the intent? What is it gonna be used for? The funding? And then who's the funder?
The funder is an internal one, a grant that we have we
At
offer
Hostos.
to groups of faculty and staff
Okay.
each year. We were lucky to get one this year that will fund 4 or 5 faculty members, each working with a student as they prepare to introduce this for a fall course. So we want them to take their course roster, choose a student randomly or because they've worked with them before, and have that student pilot it throughout the course so that we can gather some data to share outward. Because over the 5 sessions that we held, and Julie Trackman was at most of, you were at all of them, I think. We had maybe 5 to 10 faculty who got to 3 or 4 of them. A couple came to only 2. But we saw the fear of, oh, they're going to cheat, academic integrity is going to be issue, kind of subside as they realize this is a tool, it's student-centered, I don't have to do anything, and there's no fear that my directions for assignments will be criticized because I write them as best I can, and depending on learning styles, language ability,
Right.
fear of the subject, they can run amok or they could be followed to a T. This way, the student kind of gets equal access to the spirit of what the assignment's supposed to be on their own. They don't have to feel that they're coming up to the faculty member 5 times asking similar questions, because sometimes it takes that much for them to be able to do a good job based on our
And
instructions.
they're participating in their own learning.
That's what,
This is
that's what
extremely
Eric brought to me.
Yeah.
I have a way for students to own their learning
Yeah.
process, own the outcome, own the problems with it, and be able to tailor it on a moment's notice to what they need now.
Wow.
And with the schedule, we looked at it from one course, that's just how we talk about it, but 4 or 5 courses, all using AI to spread out what's difficult for you, what's not difficult for you.
It's carried. Another question?
Two thumbs up.
One more question and then.
It's me.
Go ahead. Sorry.
This is regarding the Google LLM tool. So,
Notebook LM?
yeah, the notebook LM, sorry, yeah, sorry, too many terms. When you're entering, like, let's say a list of different resources into the LLM, is there like is Google taking those?
No, it's not.
Do you have to have enterprise version though, or do you have to be
No,
logged
well,
in?
It's better, if you have Google
Cause I read
One,
something
you
about
have better access.
Google what,
If
enterprise?
you have Google One,
Okay, is that same as enterprise?
no, that's just like a personal account, it gives you like 100 megabytes of storage or something.
Okay.
Right? But even if you don't, you just have a Gmail account, you still have access. Now, the way that it's set up is that the resources you put into it become part of the data set. But based on different questions you're asking, you can just uncheck and check things that are relevant, so it doesn't get off into the weeds. Right? Like if you use the complete research and data set, and I tried that, for example, showed my entire action plan, 7 pages. It kept on coming up in my answers. In regards to the presentation, I didn't want to walk everyone through every step of pre during, and post activity for for all of that. So I uncheck that.
But is it becoming part, I guess, I'm wondering about copyright creators, if we're
Once
putting
you-
part of a textbook in
To
the
pull
student.
those, it's not,
Okay.
it's not part of Google's learning data set,
Okay. All right.
right? It uses.
I've been very hesitant to start trying using that because of the creators getting credit
Okay.
for their.
But ethical use and proper prompting and proper writing is very important, right? When you're using that tool or you're recommending a student use that tool, you shouldn't be doing putting your tax records up there and personal information and so forth, right? There's some tools that I think are great to help with writing, but if the writing is happens to be about that student's personal, individual, let's say, an issue that they have had a tragedy or trauma in regard, don't put that there, right? If it's about something external, right? You're not talking about names. You're not talking about individual data. You're talking about learning in general, right? And it's not producing final product. It's just trying to analyze what you give it. I like Notebook LM because the data set's limited. And when you delete, if you could delete that entire data set if you want, and it doesn't keep a record of. Okay, I think I need to wrap up. The next person.
We have to give them one.
Thank you again.
Yeah.
Thank you.